Reisman. I'm sure most of you know who he is. I also want to thank my sister Rachel Victoria. I can't ever say her last name, so I'm just going with Rachel Victoria, who really did most of the production here, pulled all these pieces together and forced me to stand up here and sing. And then Barbara has the nerve enough to say I sing well, so now I am a cappella. I don't have my piano, and I have no sound system. But I'm going to do the best that I can. I'm going to sing 2 songs because you forced me to sing on street and you stuck with 2. And these are 2 that I wrote, and you know, I know this sounds really crazy, but back in the day, like 71, 72, these 2 songs were on a second album I did in connection with the Black Panther Party and on behalf of the Black Panther Party. And this was done on Motown Records label called Black Forum. And I was the only other person on that label other than the speeches of Dr. Martin Luther King. So pretty impressive history on Motown having that. Okay, I'm nervous because I haven't done. Let's see if I can do this. You know, you get old. Sure. Okay. The first song I'm going to do is a song I wrote for George Jackson. And I always say these people wrote these songs, so I didn't write them, but in theory, I wrote the words and the lyrics, and the music. But, so this was a song that I wrote in connection for George after his assassination. I did sing at his funeral, but I didn't sing this song. And I wanted to know just to place this also historically when George was killed. You know, his mother and I went with his mother to pick out the clothes for a man who had been 11 years without any clothes of his own. I'm sure my comrade Jerry Elton knows what that is, to not have your own clothing. And so here he was in death, and we had to go to the big man's store to buy him something to wear in the casket. So I put something on his body so he finally has go out of this life with something he hadn't had for 11 years in prison on a $70 robbery, by the way. Okay. Oh, I was so in love last year, or rather the year before, and if it wasn't death that claimed them, it was a hard cold prison door, and they were all such young and fine men, such well-defined men, but if we remain reminded of them, then no wall or grave can confine them. I was in love with many soldiers, for they were a part of me, a part of all I'd grown with, though they somehow grown free. Yes, they were all such young and fine men, such well-defined men, but if we remain reminded of them, then no wall or grave can confine them. They came and went, I denied a glimpse of what to be, a blow for the downtrodden, yearning to be free. Though they were all such young and fine men, such well-defined men, but if we remain reminded of them, then no wall or grave can confine them. And I remember it's so very lonely when you remember you can't give or touch. When you remember the touch of your brother, you ask how could they do so much to such young and fine men, such well-defined men. But if we remain reminded of them, then no wall or grave can confine them. Here's a song I wrote for George's brother, Jonathan Jackson. And I just introduced this by saying that at the time that I heard of Jonathan Jackson's murder, and some of you may be aware, most of you should be maybe aware of how Jonathan died. He was 17 years old. He went up to the courthouse in Marin County. This is a case in connection with which you know Angela Davis's name. Jonathan went into the courthouse in Marin County with some guns, passed them out. Several other people said that they had freed the Soledad brothers by noon, went out with a judge, jury, and a whole bunch of other people as hostages, and we mowed down all of them, including the judge killed, district attorney as well, so the judge was killed. They were all killed, a lot of people killed, waiting prisoners, and Michelle B is still in prison today in Pelican Bay, I believe. Is that correct, Barbara? And so many others. And so this was an historic moment. This young man had gone and said, there's no other option I have to get my brother and my comrades out of prison, so I'm going to put my life on the line. And some people say, oh, this was violent, but what could be more violent than being in prison 11 years for a $70 robbery when you were a teenager? So this is a song I wrote for Jonathan. I was in Vietnam at the time, in North Vietnam, as they say, in Hanoi. And we read about Jonathan's murder, saw his beautiful face, and I just fell out weeping because he was my friend. Their family lived in Pasadena. I was in the Southern California chapter of the Black Panther Party, and so I just, the moving hand, sort of the spirit of Jonathan Jackson, wrote a song that this is a song. Again, I have to sing it a cappella, so I hope I do my best with this. You weren't there, you didn't see Jonathan, but do you care? What do you mean? Jonathan, you were so young, picked up a gun. Jonathan, but a man was he. He'd often go, he'd hurt her so. Jonathan, his mother's eyes beamed, mother's pride. Jonathan, what he would do, none of us knew. Jonathan, but a man was he. Some brothers free, they had no key. Jonathan, saw them in jail, they had no bail. Jonathan, USA will have to pay. Jonathan, for the man was he. But they would die, lest he should try. Jonathan, oh, by his deeds, give them the keys. Jonathan, for those who rule, they can't fool. Jonathan, for a man was he. They're more, you see, who must be free. Jonathan showed us the way, what price to pay. Jonathan opened the door, just do it for. Jonathan, for a man was he. But you were there, you didn't see. Jonathan, but do you care? What do you mean? Jonathan, he was so young,